still doing player instructions.
RaTtLeSnAke's turn to pick.
Welcome
Team Dignitas
to the first game of the lower bracket of TI3, the main event. It's Dignitas versus RaTtLeSnAkE. It's a best of one. Whoever loses here is out of the tournament. They're done for. They will be the first team to be eliminated from the international. Dignitas comes into this this matchup, I'd say, pretty heavily favored. RaTtLeSnAkE has a chance. They're a very creative team. Individual player skill is high, but their execution and coordination has sometimes been lacking. Dignitas, they were the top seed in the lower bracket of Group A after losing a tiebreaker to LGD. So very nearly had their spot into the upper bracket, but couldn't quite pull it off versus LGD. And so here they find themselves. They selected RaTtLeSnAkE from between. They had a choice between RaTtLeSnAkE and VP. And RaTtLeSnAkE, they're a little more predictable than VP. VP have some inconsistent performance. Sometimes they do really well, sometimes they don't. So RaTtLeSnAkE probably a little better understood. The draft here, pretty interesting on both sides. Greedy draft from RaTtLeSnAkE. They have 3 carries and they have a support Naga Siren. They're really going to be looking to get as much farm as they can. Dignitas, they not quite as greedy. Good late game lineup. And I think actually this is very favorable for Dignitas. AUI 2000, who I would call Owie because it's too many letters to be saying AUI 2000 all the time. Owie loves his Morphling and he plays a good Morphling. He plays safe. He gets his farm up, and he's going to show up, if he gets his farm, which he should, he's going to show up very powerful for Dignitas into the mid-game. It takes Morphling a while to get his farm. He's a very mana-dependent carry, has to get a Lincoln Sphere pretty much guaranteed because it provides all the stats that he needs, lots of mana regen, extra survivability, good stats. But it looks like RaTtLeSnAkE are thinking about an aggressive trialing here. Potentially.
30 seconds to
we'll have to see what they do. Dignitas also get a Timbersaw. Timbersaw's been seeing a lot of play in the National, and I think really works with what Dignitas has going for them. They've got the Wisp relocate, and if they can get the levels on Wisp, they can have a lot of presence on the map, and really Timbersaw can keep up with that very nicely. As can Nature's Prophet. I think this is a very strong draft from Dignitas. They have a lot of global presence. They have a strong mid-game, have good ability to make this work for them. And given how greedy RaTtLeSnAkE is with their draft, I think they're going to have trouble if Wisps gets his levels, which is the big question. RaTtLeSnAkE is running an aggressive trialing here. Has never seen a trialing like this before. Lanham's going to be on Chaos Knight with Sag on Keeper of the Light and Kabu on that support Naga Siren. With just fogged on Wisp down here, joined by Owie on Morphling, it's going to be a little bit difficult for Morphling to find his farm. Owie's really got to be careful, and if he gets netted up and Illuminate, combined with the Reality Rift and Chaos Bolt from Lanham, there's a lot of damage in this lane, but Morphling is very survivable. And if he can get his Morph off without using too much of his mana, then he will be okay. They've also got Way Too Sexy on Rubik. He will be joining them. He's a little late to the lane. It looks like he's trying. Yeah, he managed to do the pull down at bottom. So this is a creative pull here from Way Too Sexy because they know that this gets warded up, and it's very dangerous to attempt the pull when you're up against an aggressive trialing like this. Very dangerous aggressive trialing. This pull works because you're very far back and you just lift up the creep, drop it at the right timing. The timing is a little hard to pull off, and it looks like Way Too Sexy has already missed one, but the Bathroom Ripper did take a lot of damage, so I'm not sure what happened on the first pull there. Over in mid, we've got Sneaking on Timbersaw versus Icy on Weaver. Should be pretty even for both sides of this. Sneaking will get his farm, as will Icy. Potential small advantage for Timbersaw, particularly earlier on, until there's more levels in Shikuchi, but one of the things that Timbersaw can do, he can pop the Whirling Death every time Icy uses his Shikuchi to get in close. And another thing about Timbersaw that's good versus Weaver is that his reactive armor will proc twice on the Geminate attack, giving him some extra mana regen, or health regen, as well as armor. So Timbersaw is pretty good versus Weaver. Up at top, we've got Universe on Nature's Prophet versus Low on that Gyrocopter. Pretty even matchup. They're both going to get their farm. Don't expect kills either way. Universe has to be careful about feeding his treants because Gyrocopter is very good at chewing through large amounts of creeps. Makes it possible for him to get extra gold in this lane. But the nice thing for Universe is that those treants eat up procs of the rocket barrage and can make it a little safer for Universe if he steps out a little too far or he finds himself away from his creep wave. It looks like Low is doing his own pulling here, which is a little dangerous here. If Universe, oh well, not if he doesn't have his treants. You can see all that rocket barrage damage. If he doesn't have his treants with him, Universe has to be very careful here. And in fact, loses a couple creep kills as a result. So creative play here from Low is going to help him pull ahead in this lane. Kabu, who's rotated middle, potentially could catch Snaking, who does not have any points in Timber Chain right now. This could be your first blood. Swarm gets thrown up by Icy. The minus armor is coming out, but look at the HP regen of the reactive armor. Oh, he pops the salve. He tries to stay up for just a little bit longer. First blood does go to Icy. Well executed dive from Icy and excellent rotation from Kabu with the ensnare. They pull off the kill on a Timber Saw, which can be quite difficult with that reactive armor. It's going to slow Snaking down, and particularly because Icy gets the last hit there, really help his start out in this game. So a nice start for RaTtLeSnAkE here, and the tri-lane down at bottom, they're not stopping Owie's farm. He's at 13-0 versus 14-4 on Lanham. So slight edge for RaTtLeSnAkE, but these supports are a little suffering for levels, but thanks to the rotation from Kabu, he's able to pick up some experience from that kill and provides a little room for Keeper of the Light. One of the weaknesses of Keeper of the Light in an aggressive tri-lane is if he doesn't get the experience quickly to get to level 3, it can be slow on the Chakra Magic, which is important for Chaos Knight. Really needs that extra mana regen in order to be able to use the Chaos Bolt and the Reality Rift consistently. But good news because of the rotation from Kabu, Sag hits his level 3 very early on, has 2 levels in Chakra Magic, which means he can continue to spam the Illuminate. And it's going to be a problem for Fogged on this IO. Will slow down his levels a lot, and Dignitas are definitely dependent on the relocate ganks in this game. Way Too Sexy, he continues to try to make these pulls work for like the telekinesis, but look how low, like he's only level 1 at about 5 minutes in, and it's going to be a little bit before he actually manages to get that. The timing is just looks like he's trying to get both the stack. Yeah, he's trying to stack and do the pull, and it's just not paying off yet. It's a bit of a cheesy play here, and it could really cost them. Actually, up at top, Low picks up a solo kill onto Universe. The lanes here early for RaTtLeSnAkE are turning out pretty well. And in fact, I mean, winning these solo lanes for RaTtLeSnAkE is perfect. I mean, they're going even, actually, at this point, winning their aggressive tri-lane. And Dignitas losing their lanes is really bad news. Now, Way Too Sexy does finally pull off this this pull. He hits his level 2, but it's still going to be very slow for him. And I mean, I kind of wonder. I can't watch him all the time, but I wonder what's causing him not to get more of these pulls off. Perhaps mistiming. Tough to say. It's really unfortunate for Dignitas that Universe goes down up at top. Because of that death, Low is level 8 versus 5 on Universe. Universe is not having a good time in this lane. 18-4 versus 42-8 on Low. And that's just, it's not how you want that lane to play out. I mean, Gyrocopter does have an advantage, but it should not be that much of an advantage. And it's really going to hurt Universe's ability to rotate to other lanes. Actually, a second ward placed down here for RaTtLeSnAkE. They want to make sure that these pulls just never happen because they're not interested in giving up on this tri-lane. It will mean late levels on their supports, most relevant for Naga Siren. Wants to hit level 6 as soon as possible for that sleep. But frankly, given how well the lanes are going for RaTtLeSnAkE, I think that's okay. The only lane that's...
Radiant's top tower.
Ooh, this could be a kill onto Icy. He does have the time lapse still available. I think he really should pop it there to undo that damage. It doesn't cost mana, and he's unlikely to get ganked in the near future. I mean, the only rotation that can happen is from Universe, he's not concerned about that, or from Way Too Sexy, who's level 2 right now, so I think he's pretty safe in this lane. Nonetheless, Icy is 23-4 versus 33-4 on sneaking, so pretty good deal for sneaking, but given that first blood, it's pretty even in the end. Fog has hit level 4. He's getting, at least since Way Too Sexy's not in this lane, Fog is finding some of his levels. Still a little bit slow in the scheme of things, but this aggressive tri-lane from RaTtLeSnAkE is really paying off at this point.
Attack.
There's no relocate to be afraid of, and by the time it does happen, I really think RaTtLeSnAkE is gonna be ready for it. Up at top, Low is about to get a solo kill on this tower. Nice deny from
Radiant's top
Universe.
tower has been denied.
Really well done. That was not easy to do with 5 creeps on it, as well as Low. Universe making the plays. Constant Illuminate spam from Sag is really keeping the supports on Dignitas back, and because he keeps hitting them on Owie, he can't stay in the lane, and it's gonna push them out. Because if they hit another one, they could potentially die. Oh, and that one just barely clips Fog. Very unfortunate for these supports. Forced to do the walk of shame all the way back to base. Not a good situation for this defensive tri-lane on Dignitas. And RaTtLeSnAkE continues to have complete control of Dignitas' jungle. I think now that Sneaking is hit level 8, he may need to start rotating a lot sooner. It's unfortunate to have to leave this Weaver alone in this lane. Oh my god. Fog just barely dodges that Illuminate. You don't want to leave the Weaver alone farming, but the same thing is happening up top. Low is way pulling ahead in terms of last hits. He's a full 20 ahead of anybody on Dignitas right now. And he's just going to keep farming. He's actually gone for Helm of the Dominator early. He's Dominator to creep. He's doing his own stacking right now. He's going to get farmed as hell if Dignitas doesn't do anything about this. Really, Sneaking and Universe are the only ones that can do anything about that right now. Fog has hit level 5. He's had some time alone in this lane. Since Owie and Way Too Sexy had to back off. So the relocate is on the way. But with such low farm on Owie, it's gonna be a while before the relocate really makes a difference. Oh, this Illuminate spam from Sag is just so deadly. Interesting to note here, early level in Mana Leak from Sag. Interested in the aggression, and Mana Leak is quite strong versus Morphling and Wisp, as well as Timbersaw to an extent. So an early rotation by him could be pretty effective. Oh, the ensnare almost lands on Sneaking. Actually, Sneaking walks back in. There's the ensnare. Will RaTtLeSnAkE go on in this? It appears not.
Radiant's top tower is under
Rotation
attack.
Way Too Sexy. He drops a sentry down, wants to make sure there's no wards on the hill here from RaTtLeSnAkE. But there are none. Arcane Boots are finally up on Sneaking.
Radiant's top tower is
Perhaps
under
that was what he was
attack.
waiting for to get his to start his rotation. But meanwhile, up at top, Low continues to have this solo lane to himself. Still way ahead in last hits. He's going to be a terror as this game goes forward. Very dangerous for Dignitas, especially Gyrocopter versus Io. A pretty decent matchup, especially when Io is underfarmed and underleveled. Io has no base armor. I mean, look at this. At level 5, still 0 armor. 5% physical resistance. Will get torn up by the flat cannon from Low. Especially because he's gone for this the early Helm of Dominator. Oh, Owie gets pulled back in, forcing out the morph just a little bit. Owie continues to sit at low HP. Rotation bottom from Low. He wants to join in this and take out the bottom tier 1. The sooner they can do that, wow, these Illuminates from Sag, constant. Early point in Mirror Image from Kabu means that they can dive the tower. Those images can really soak up a lot of tower hits. And also using them to scout is another utility of these. It's pretty nice. Good tether out by Fog. He realizes that RaTtLeSnAkE wants to go on the tower, and they will back out just in time.
Radiant's bottom tower is under attack.
Icy's still having a pretty good time mid. He's not winning the lane, but that's okay. I mean, he's getting his levels, he's getting enough farm. And he's slowing down Dignitas in their desire to push down mid. Now Sag, he's rotated mid, he's got his Illuminate up, and for this reason, Keeper of the Light's pretty decent versus Nature's Prophet. Those Treants have some magical resistance, but not enough to really really be effective. So RaTtLeSnAkE take the first tower of the game. They leave Landom down at bottom alone, which Dignitas really should be able to punish. Honestly, Fog plus Owie alone could probably take him down. He is pretty tanky at this point. He's sitting on 1100 HP because he's got treads as well as a bracer. So not the easiest kill, but I don't think they should be allowing Landom to just sit this far into their side of the map. We have not yet seen a rotation from Sneaking. Very passive play from him. When you're on a Timbersaw, I don't think that's why you want to pick the Timbersaw. You want to be using the aggression. You want to be making use of his intense mobility and long range engagement. And I think that Dignitas are just not making use out of this this pick. So 13 minutes in, 2 kills for RaTtLeSnAkE. They're about nearly 3,500 gold ahead. Only 1,000 experience. So the lead is not too much in favor of RaTtLeSnAkE just yet. They have not yet converted their advantage into kills yet. Way Too Sexy is alone up at top, and if RaTtLeSnAkE realizes this, I mean, Low could finish him off alone. There's the relocate. It's finally online. He brings Snake King right on top of Kabu. It's a very fast kill, but the call down does land on 2, so Fog will go down in trade for this support kill. They do delay the level 6 on Kabu, so there's, in some sense, it's worth it, and it, you know, gets Sneaking some experience, but it's still not a great trade. I don't think Dignitas is in a position where they really want to be trading like that. Asleep is something to be very worried about, so it's good to have slowed that down. There's a haste rune on Sneaking. He could just dive on this if he really wanted, but he misses the Chakram, and that will pretty much be it. The Mana Leak goes out. 3-second Chaos Bolt. Can they finish off this kill? There's nowhere nearby for him to Timber Chain. Can he make it out? He throws out the Chakram, but he gets pulled in by the Reality Rift. Icy, he wants to finish this off, but the reactive armor is keeping up just barely. Drops down to 7 HP. So Sneaking will barely make it out. Way Too Sexy cuts off Kabu's escape with the Fade Bolt, and it's a good engagement for Dignitas. Just barely. It was risky. Risky. They chase Lanham out of the lane. The Midas is up on Universe. He's picked up the phase beforehand, so the timing is pretty right for him. He is finding a decent amount of farm in this game. We can't forget Low. He's at 110 last hits at 15 minutes. This farm is getting absurd, and he's nearly completed with his BKB. Just 1,000 more gold, and he's going to have that. And given his current gold per minute, 436. He's a full 130 ahead of his solo mid. And that's before any ancient stacking. Oh my god. 3 stacks of the ancients already. That's the early Helm of Dominator for you. And it's unlikely that Dignitas is going to be able to challenge that stack, at least in the next 10 minutes. And with the Helm of Dominator, I'm pretty sure that Low is going to be able to take it before then. So RaTtLeSnAkE, they're really getting a lot out of this map right now. And I think Dignitas need to be very worried about the start that Low is having. Icy has gone for this more defensive build on Weaver, which we've seen a couple times. Getting the early treads and then going into an urn. If you get early kills, then the urn definitely pays off, but I still feel it's a very defensive way to build Weaver, and I don't know how much it really pays off. Relocate is off cooldown for Fogged. He's tethered to Sneaking right now. He can make something happen up at top. Universe and Way Too Sexy are here waiting, and Way Too Sexy has found his level 6, thank God, by this second daytime. That's really when you want your supports to be hitting 6. So he's got the spell steal available. Sleep would be a pretty powerful steal for him. Chakra Magic, Call Down, those are nice steals. I think Chaos Bolt is probably about as good as it gets. Ensnare is also very strong. Sneaking is going for the Bloodstone build, which that's pretty much the only thing I've seen on Timbersaw that's at least been a winning combination. Did see a Vanguard at one point, but it's just such a defensive item pick. your window of opportunity with Timbersaw is up to the 30-minute mark, and spending that much gold on an item like Vanguard that doesn't actually increase your killing power, it's a bit risky. Icy's actually stealing from Dignitas' jungle right now. I mean, I just think RaTtLeSnAkE is getting so much of the map right now. Owie down at bottom, he is starting to catch up on his farm, but it's going to be a while before he's up and running. He's gone for the Aquila. Wands and Tread, but he's got his Ring of Health now. So a full 4,000 or so gold before he's got his Lincoln Sphere. And that's... the Lincoln Sphere will not be the end of his farming. He's going to have to go for a lot more than just that in order to have a big impact in this game. We'll probably go for the Ethereal Blade. Oh, there's a lift onto Lanham. The Chakram gets thrown out, pulled back into the meat grinder of Sneaking. That early damage from Timbersaw, very nice. The sleep gets popped from Kabu, tries to save his teammate, but to no avail. So the first use of the sleep gets wasted, and that's good news for Dignitas. Could potentially allow them to find a relocate gank somewhere on this map. Low has already started to work on that ancient stack, clears out some of the creeps, but doesn't quite have the survivability to work through the larger creeps. That kill will allow Sneaking to finish his soul booster, so not too long before he has his Bloodstone. Will be a very nice pickup for him, and could potentially allow... It seems like Dignitas is waiting for something before they attempt any relocates, and perhaps the Bloodstone is that something. Because for right now, the only decent tether target they have is Timbersaw. Drums picked up on Lanham, so he's getting faster and more survivable. Pretty decent start for the support Naga Siren as well. Boots, Poor Man Shield, and a wand with the Bracer. So got some HP, which is important for Naga Siren. Will not stop Timbersaw from chewing up Kabu, but... Oh, there's a relocate up at top. Lanham pops the Phantasm. Can they take him down fast enough? He gets caught inside the Chakram. The pure damage from... actually, there was no Timber Chain there, but he drops pretty fast regardless. And that's a top tier 1 for Dignitas. So Dignitas, they're finding the relocate ganks. And at that point, I mean, I'm starting to feel like Dignitas, they're making their way back into this game. They still really have to worry about low. This is a level 15 Gyrocopter. Jesus Christ. He is farmed as all hell.
Radiant's middle tower
And if RaTtLeSnAkE can make use of that,
Dire's top tower is under attack.
they can pull themselves into an advantage this game, but I feel like Gyrocopter can't do it on his own. He needs the assistance of his team, and in particular, he needs either Lanham or Icy to have
Dire's top tower is under
to be there with him to make these kills happen. The Universe, he may have stuck around a little too long. There's no dust or there's no sentries available for him. Wow, he actually picks up the tier 2, so well played by Universe. Sticks around just long enough to finish that off, and the mid tier 1 goes down as well, so
Dire's middle tower has fallen.
Dignitas taking some map control. Looked like they were on the back foot this game, but they're starting to make it work. They're giving room for Owie to farm down at bottom. And that's the Bloodstone picked up for Sneaking as a result of these tower kills. And Mechanism on the way for Fogged. That's a really powerful pickup for the Wisp. Things are looking good for Dignitas now. They've come back from their early setback, and RaTtLeSnAkE have kind of been put onto the back foot. I think perhaps I was overestimating the early lead that they had, given the super greedy lineup that they have. It's great that Low has all this farm, but it's hard to find kills versus Dignitas. Even, you know, Io, not an easy support to take down as long as Tether is available. Certainly, Owie is on Morphling. Morphling is just such a nuisance to take down. Oh, Fogged. He pops the smoke from RaTtLeSnAkE and just barely gets away. The dust gets popped by RaTtLeSnAkE, thinking that maybe Universe is nearby, but no such chance. Kabu does have his sleep available, and Fogged is fully aware of this, so I don't think they're going to be able to catch him. He's just going to be able to tether away. And Universe, ooh, Fogged. Well, they will catch Fogged. Sneaking, he's got the Timber Chain, so he should be able to escape okay. So RaTtLeSnAkE, a lot of time invested just for the support kill. a dubious trade. I wonder how quickly RaTtLeSnAkE will be able to take this down. They do have a decent amount of minus armor thanks to the Riptide. And they've got drums. Oh, but they've got an Alpha Wolf. This will really amp up their damage quite nicely. But Sneaking, he seems to be aware of this. Doesn't quite get the Chakram in range though. If it were landed, that actually hit the heroes. That might have been enough. But positioned just far enough back. And low. Ooh, there's a sleep onto Sneaking. Can they finish off this kill? This is not an easy hero to take down, but there's a relocate coming in. Fogged is showing up alone, and the sleep gets stolen from Way Too Sexy. Excellent steal from Way Too Sexy, allowing his team to get away. Fogged helps Sneaking walk out of there. Really nice. That Way Too Sexy making the big plays there. So, RaTtLeSnAkE not able to find the kills, and giving more time for Universe to push in up at top, getting some damage, a lot of damage up onto the top tier 3. Universe getting a lot of split push done. And that was the bottom tower getting denied, I believe. Owie just almost taking it down, but not quite. And there was a kill on the Sneaking there. I didn't see that happen. Guess I'm just not. Wow. Happened like right in front of my eyeballs, and just didn't see it. In any case, Fogged, has he got that mechanism yet? No. Getting closer, though. Positioned pretty aggressively here. Could get eaten alive. There's the 3-second Chaos Bolt, and Fogged will go down. Well, kind of an unnecessary kill. No reason for him to be that far forward. Not sure what his game plan was there, given that there were no creeps to tether to. IC picks up a BKB first, continues with a defensive build. Not a lot of damage, but definitely makes him harder to kill. Way Too Sexy. Still got that sleep. By the time it's off cooldown, I believe he will actually not have it anymore, because the cooldown of sleep is the same as the duration of the spell steal on level 1 steal. So it won't have it available next time, but that's okay. Universe, thinking about going on Lanham. I don't know that he has the damage to do this. Some aggressive wards here from Dignitas. They've got most of RaTtLeSnAke's jungle warded up. There's the Lincoln Sphere finished onto Owie. He's a lot harder to kill now. He's got a little bit of damage. Has to keep farming. Probably almost always goes for that Ethereal Blade. So I expect that to be the next pickup. And once he has that, he can probably start getting involved in these fights. And maybe we'll see some relocates with him. It will depend on good positioning from RaTtLeSnAkE to make sure that they aren't getting picked off. But that's why I really like this ward, particularly this one from Dignitas. Scouts out potential relocate targets with ease. Lanham is working on his BKB. He's about 2/3 of the way there. That will be important for him to survive the ganks from Dignitas. About 3 minutes left on the Aegis. I doubt that RaTtLeSnAkE is going to try to make anything out of it. I think given what the super greedy lineup that they have, they're the ones that are happy to kind of sit back and trade equally and farm. Dignitas' late game is good, but it does, particularly Timbersaw falls off in terms of what he offers against RaTtLeSnAkE. I mean, the 15% stat reduction will always help against Chaos Knight, but once he picks up that BKB, he's not going to be as concerned about Timbersaw. It is pure damage, but I believe that gets stopped by BKB activation. I believe. Because it is still a magical effect. Low working on his butterfly, which he's now finished. Jesus Christ, the farm on Low is absurd. 527 gold per minute. Doing a great job. Has cleared out this ancient stack a number of times, so really good discipline here by RaTtLeSnAkE to keep the ancient stacks going. Low is going to be a major threat here for Dignitas, and I think he's probably the biggest problem for them as this game goes forward. Way Too Sexy and Fogged are really going to suffer a lot under the flat cannon. As will Universe to some extent. Now, Universe, he's getting a lot of damage onto the top tier 3 here. The Fortify will be popped, and it's going to force RaTtLeSnAkE to back off. This is a very nice comeback mechanism for Dignitas. keeping the pressure up on RaTtLeSnAkE and making sure that they really can't push out as much as they would like. There's a big tower advantage for, or a slight tower advantage for dignitas right now. About a full 2 towers ahead. Yeah, 2 towers. Looks like Shiva's is coming up next for sneaking. Mechanism almost finished on Fogged. Way too sexy. He's got 1,700 gold saved up, so he could have a Blink Dagger relatively soon. Would be very nice for helping out the initiation and keeping up with the global presence of IO plus Nature's Prophet, and to some extent Morphling with the Replicate. It's another thing I haven't mentioned about Morphling. His strength as a carry through Replicate can have global presence in a manner not unlike Spectre. It looks like Icy is going yet more defensive with the Lincoln Sphere, and I don't really agree with the Lincoln Sphere in this game. I don't think there's any major single target spells that he needs to be super worried about. Now this could be a sheepstick, and if it is, then I rescind any criticism I have of this item pickup. So we'll see what he ends up with. So the Aegis will be reclaimed without being used. Sheepstick is up on Universe. He's getting more and more aggressive here, and I think he really can be. Against how RaTtLeSnAkE is, I mean, they're draft really. They just don't have the ability to initiate. They're really dependent on the sleep to get in close. They don't have any global presence. Nobody that's a natural Blink Dagger carrier in this game that can really help them catch somebody out of position. And they also really, I mean, they don't have a lot in the way of stun. I mean, they're dependent on the Chaos Bolt and Snare, but these things are not particularly useful versus Dignitas. Waveform and Timber Chain. Override and Snare. No trouble. Not to mention Relocate. Oh, there's a Relocate up to top. Sag, he just barely makes it out. The sleep is popped by Kabu. He catches 3 here, but the Relocate is just about to end. Will they be able to make it out? Yes, just barely. They do. They do pick up the kill on Universe, which that's pretty important, but Snaking, he will Timber Chain away to safety. No trouble. And likewise, Aoi will just Replicate up to the top lane. Good use of Replicate. This is one of the reasons I think Aoi plays a very good Morphling. Always has good Replicate placement. Ooh, Sag. Nearly gets picked off by the Chakram. And nothing else. Nevertheless, good sleep usage there by Kabu. Catching 3, but with the Relocate already counting down from Fogged, he was going to be safe. And they had to take the most valuable kill they could get, which was Universe. Really the only kill they could get. I don't think they were going to take down Sneaking. A Shadow Blade up on Lanham. Interesting choice here. Have not seen this ever built on Chaos Knight before, so very unique. Gonna have to question it. It's certainly creative, but well, he immediately uses it to pick off Way Too Sexy, so almost pays for it right in itself there. But there's a Relocate. Fogged and Sneaking show up. Chakram gets thrown out, but there's a call down, and Fogged is caught in the middle of it. Aoi, he's gonna find a kill onto Kabu, but Sneaking, does he have the mana to escape this? Yeah, it does appear that he should be fine. He gets pulled back by the Reality Rift and a Chaos Bolt, so actually Snaking is gonna get picked off here. It's a 3-for-1 in favor of RaTtLeSnAkE. Dignitas, they get over aggressive there. Fogged relocating Sneaking into his own death. I don't think there was any chance that Dignitas was expecting a Shadow Blade Chaos Knight to pick off Way Too Sexy. So you know, it pays off for that fight. We'll see if Dignitas fall for it again. And it does make Dignitas more scared. I think one of the things about Shadow Blade that versus a split push lineup, it forces pushers to be constantly afraid of, you know, where are they coming from? Are they going to show up any point here? The only trouble with Chaos Knight is that there is a projectile on the Chaos Bolt, and it's possible, particularly in this land environment, for a Nature's Prophet to Shadow Blade in time, or to throw out the sheep just before he gets hit. One of those two. So it's possible to have to respond in time, but it's still a pretty good chance of getting the stun off, and that can be all that's necessary to find the kill. I think this tower, is it deniable? I don't think it's deniable. No, it's not quite. That's close. Oh, it is.
Bottom
Ugh,
tower
I was wrong.
has been denied.
I always get the deny HPs wrong for tier 2s. In any case, the Ethereal Blade is finished by Owie, so his presence in this game will now be felt. He will be a lot more useful in these fights, and particularly versus Lanham and Low. We'll be able to completely stop them from dealing any damage. Now, the BKB is up on Low, and I believe that's still a 10-second charge. So he's not too worried about the BKB, but Lanham would certainly be sad to get Ethereal Bladed. Oh, there's an ensnare up onto Fong, but they will not be able to. Oh, but there's a sleep pop by Kambu. He catches 3 here. There's no call down from Low. He doesn't. Oh, but he gets chakred up. Gets the call down out late. Fong gets caught in the middle of it. Is he going to make it out? Pops the mechanism just before he goes down, but it's still a 2-for-1 in favor of Dignitas right now. Icy, he's trapped inside the Sprout. The BKB means nothing when he's trapped inside those trees. Had already used the time lapse, was not going to be able to make it out of that. A great fight for Dignitas. 1 for 3, only trading their support IO for 2 of the cores on RaTtLeSnAkE, and it's going to mean a mid-tier 2 for Dignitas. And rotating up to top, oh, the Shadow Blade on Lanham, it's actually working out. There could be an immediate buyback. There should be a buyback from Universe. He needs to get back in this fight if they want to make this work. What's he waiting for? Nevertheless, Dignitas, they're going to get this top tier 3. There's the buyback. And there's a buyback from Lanham as well. He's popped the Shadow Blade. He's come back into the fight. But they pick up a gem and they immediately see him. He's going to drop immediately. RaTtLeSnAkE, suddenly they've lost their top racks. Things were looking so good. My oh my. Wow. Dignitas, they may take 2 racks here. What a turnaround. Tier 3's dropping fast. Low's not back for 10 seconds. Sog, he can throw out some Illuminates, but I don't think it's going to be enough. The Fortify is not back online. And Dignitas, they can completely suicide on this and it would be totally worth it. That's 2 sets of racks. RaTtLeSnAkE suddenly they're in a terrible position. Good recovery from Dignitas out of that early game that looked so bad for them, especially with the amazing farm on Low. I mean, that incredibly early BKB, I was expecting more aggression out of him, but they just weren't able to make use out of it because of how greedy their lineup is. If they'd gone for something even just a little bit less greedy, I don't think a Chaos Knight in this game is really what RaTtLeSnAkE needed. I mean, he's just not... Yeah, he's actually managed to find a couple kills, so I can't say that Chaos Knight is useful in this game, but imagine if that were a support. Alina, a lion, someone with burst damage. I mean, they could have put anything in that tri-lane, gotten the farm, and they could have a Shadow Blade too. So you have to imagine what any other hero could do with a Shadow Blade, given equal amounts of farm. RaTtLeSnAkE, they will find this Roche, but Dignitas, they're ready to take the fight. The sleep gets popped by Kabu. Is this enough time for RaTtLeSnAkE to finish it? But no, they're going to drop the call down. They're going to try to take this fight. Fog, he just manages to tether out and instantly pops Nagasar and Owie with that shotgun combo. Way too sexy. Pops his Ghost Scepter. He's on the run from Icy, but meanwhile, Owie picks up another kill. Low, he finds a double kill of his own. He is a threat in these fights. But he's going to get sheeped up. He's going down. The sheepstick from Universe. It's an ultra kill for Owie. Wow. And that's going to be game. What a series of fights. Dignitas come out swinging. They were patient.
Dire's middle barracks has
They made use of the relocate, and there's the GG called by RaTtLeSnAkE. They are the first team to drop from the International 3. Sad day, but I think outdrafted and did not have... I mean, their own draft defeated them in this game. I mean, they got a great early advantage, one that that was a very creative, aggressive tri-lane, but they weren't able to continue the aggression. Because Chaos Knight, I mean, he's got to keep farming. Gyrocopter has to keep farming. Weaver has to keep farming. These aren't carries that can just pick up 1 or 2 items and be, okay, you know, we're ready to go in. And particularly the defensive item pickups on Icy, I think that was maybe... It was a big cost to RaTtLeSnAkE in this game. They needed more burst damage. They needed more deeps to be able to make use of Lowe's huge early farming advantage. I mean, he had 307 last hits in this game. I mean, he was farming fantastically. But Gyrocopter can't do it on his own. He's not that tanky. And there's plenty of physical and pure damage from Dignitas to punish him. So it's not like he can just solo Dignitas. And Universe, I would probably say, is MVP for Dignitas. He, on his own, took out the Tier 2, got almost all of the damage under the Tier 3, which is what allowed the first set of racks to go down, forcing out the buybacks from RaTtLeSnAkE. And Universe applied so much pressure in this game. And RaTtLeSnAkE were not... They weren't able to respond to it. They didn't have enough anti-push. They didn't have supports that they could just rotate to a lane and say, hey, stay there with, with a semi-carry and, make sure this lane doesn't get pushed out. They were vulnerable to the relocate ganks because they weren't nearly as mobile as Dignitas. Very global lineup from Dignitas. So I think just too much of a greedy draft from RaTtLeSnAkE and Dignitas. They were holding on by I really feel like they were on the edge there towards the beginning of the game, but they come back, they get the farm on Owie, and he shows up at the end, hitting hard and doing what the one position is supposed to do. A very entertaining game. Wow. I mean, just look at that advantage they gained. Up next, I believe, is LGDM versus Mouse Sports. So, looking forward to that.